The more the prey struggles, the more the ants engage. Right across the raid front, prey of all sizes are driven from their hiding places. Even wasps must abandon their homes when the ants arrive. Everything alive in the path of the raiders, overwhelmed by sheer numbers.
At a jungle hut, this female finds a saw. Despite being totally wild, somehow she has worked out what to do with it. Like us, orangutans have an opposable thumb that allows them to grasp and handle objects with precision. Over 20 years ago, a rescue orangutan learned how to saw by watching people constructing the huts here. But this is a totally different and wild orangutan. She seems to take pride in her work, even clearing away the sawdust. She's so smart, she uses her feet as a vice to steady the branch. Filming a wild-born and free-living orangutan mastering this complex task is remarkable. But now, she's not the only orangutan sawing. Spy orangutan has joined her. It seems to be bringing out a competitive streak. She's becoming even more enthusiastic. But for a novice, sawing is tiring work. She's lost all momentum. Then, finally, calls it a day. Spy orangutan may have machine-like stamina, but it's the astonishing and versatile mind of the real orangutan that's won the day. She's certainly earned her rest.
This tiny poison arrow frog is carrying his tadpole piggyback. It hatched on a leaf, and now he's taking it to a pool in a bromeliad, high up in the branches. The tadpole wriggles off. He may have half a dozen babies, each of which he puts into its own tiny pool. He makes regular tours of all his nurseries, checking on his tadpole's welfare. This youngster is hungry and tells him so by nibbling his legs and vibrating against his body. But the male can't feed the tadpole himself. He needs help. He has to find a female. There she is. He calls. And she follows. He has to lead, for only he knows exactly where he deposited each tadpole. This one is now very hungry indeed. He calls to the female encouragingly. Tree jumps in, perhaps to assess the situation. Out she comes without having done what's required, so he keeps calling. In she goes a second time. This time she produces food for the hungry tadpole, an infertile egg. There. Out she comes, and mother and father embrace. Baby has its dinner.
Each autumn, a squirrel buries around 10,000 nuts. Its memory is so phenomenal, it can retrieve up to 4,000 of them. To achieve this feat, as winter approaches, the area of the brain responsible for memory enlarges 15%. The squirrels show another brainy trait: cunning. A spy squirrel bearing gifts is ready to record their devious behaviour. He looks a soft touch, but the squirrel needs to be sure. He lashes his tail to show confidence. Fluffing it up makes him appear bigger and shows who's boss. Spy squirrel is a pushover. He's going to be popular. The nut is immediately stashed away. But clever minds can also be devious. And this squirrel watches where the nut is hidden. As soon as it's buried, she makes a move. Okay if you don't get caught, but there's big trouble if you do. The duped squirrel needs to be craftier this time. The crook may still be watching, but this is what he wants. In a shameless display of overacting, he pretends to bury his nut. The thief waits until the performance is over, then quietly sneaks in. But there's no nut to pilfer here. Hardly surprising. It's stashed in his intended victim's mouth. With the nut raider preoccupied, he can either eat it or bury it secretly. But the thief hasn't abandoned her life of crime. Spy squirrel has a new nut, one with a camera. Theft is such an easy option. Around a fifth of all squirrels steal nuts rather than forage for them. It's a crafty way of letting others do the hard work. But this time, the thief has picked the wrong nut.
In these forests lives a bird that is about as unbird-like as it is possible for a bird to be. It's nocturnal, though it sometimes wakes up before sunset. It has whiskers, so it can feel its way in the dark. It's a parrot, and weighing up to 4 kilos, it's the world's heaviest. And yes, you've guessed it, it can't fly. Meet the kakapo. Too heavy and short-winged to get airborne, it climbs trees instead. Kakapo were once one of the most successful and abundant herbivores in New Zealand, the Kiwi equivalent of our rabbit. In 1899, explorer Charlie Douglas wrote, "They could be caught in the moonlight by simply shaking the tree or bush until they tumbled to the ground, like shaking down apples." Its favorite food is up above, the tiny seeds of the rimu tree. This fruit fuels kakapo reproduction, and they only breed when the trees produce a bumper crop, so about once every 4 years. Kakapo breed slower than any other bird, but they also live longer, sometimes more than 100 years. The male's song is as peculiar as the bird itself, more frog than parrot. It can be heard up to 5 kilometers away. In a breeding season, he will boom non-stop for 8 hours every night for up to 3 months. But a female will only respond if there are plenty of rimu seeds about. So while these birds may nest in burrows like rabbits, unfortunately they don't breed like them, and their numbers have dwindled dramatically. Today, fewer than 100 kakapos survive.
The longer Wallace spent on Sulawesi, the more it puzzled him. The kuskus and tarsiers weren't the only curiosities. So many bizarre creatures here were unique, found nowhere else in the world. And it was on this very beach, more than 150 years ago, that Wallace encountered one of the strangest of all, Sulawesi macaques.
They really are quite odd-looking creatures, small, compact, jet black fur, and as Wallace wrote, about the size of a spaniel. They've got strange hair and big foreheads and a permanent look of surprise on their faces. They really are peculiar-looking creatures. What?
Okay, so maybe there is a passing resemblance. He wrote how they would stare at him in astonishment as he went collecting.
10 o'clock. Okay, incoming. We've obviously attracted a bit of attention here. But the whole family's turned up for a little bit.
And they hadn't lost that natural curiosity.
check him in. I've obviously been accepted as part primate.
Wallace had encountered other species of macaques on his travels. All were brown and had tails. But their cousins on Sulawesi were black and tailless. And they had Mohicans. Wallace wanted to understand why these monkeys and the other creatures here were so different. Something about this island drove species to change.
To help her in her quest, she's equipped with 3 superpowers. First, an amazing approach to getting about. Portia is a jumping spider, able to leap up to 50 times her own body length. Nowhere seems beyond her reach. Next, her second superpower, superb eyesight. Essential if she's to distinguish her prey in all this clutter. Because her prey doesn't stray. Portia is a spider-eating spider. This raises a few problems. Her lunch is 3 times her size, packed with venom, and surrounded by a sticky trap. Mission impossible? Not at all, because of her third superpower. Portia is a genius. She can map her world in 3 dimensions and formulate a plan of attack. She can have an idea. The web builder is blind. It won't have a clue that she's coming. Right on target, and safely behind those fangs. But a mind as active as Portia's can always do with more brain food. Here, there's no anchor point for the abseil. But Portia has another idea. Instead of going to the spider, she will bring the spider to her. She plucks the strands to imitate struggling prey. Drawing the spider in to its death.
Pups have to defend themselves. Every single plant in the rainforest has taken arms. Some have evolved hooks. Others, vicious thorns. And some have taken to chemical weaponry,
filling their leaves with poisons. Plant eaters have had to adapt to find a way around these defenses. Like this female three-toed sloth. She has long, strong front legs to help her climb around for food, 20 meters up in the canopy. Ligaments bind her toes together, turning her claws into large hooks, so she hangs from a branch without spending much energy. This bizarre body has developed as one big adaptation to a specialized diet. She eats just a few kinds of tree. These tough leaves contain inedible toxins that most animals can't digest. Her gut has developed a special system of pouches to separate food in various stages of digestion, and it hosts specialized bacteria that break down the leaves. But digesting can take weeks. This means she only has space to eat a very small helping of leaves a day, the weight of a small egg. She gets so little energy from this diet that she must keep movement to a minimum. This explains the famous slowness of sloths. She has almost become part of the forest furniture, and other creatures have started to move in.
Food Panda, we're on a mission to make life delicious with 30% off best sellers. Lalo na pag ito ang feels.
A bird of prey soars over the barren Arabian landscape. An Egyptian vulture on the lookout for food. With a wingspan of more than 1.5 meters, it is one of Arabia's most majestic and endangered aerial masters. The vulture's white body feathers contrast sharply with dark flight feathers, creating a dramatic silhouette against the sky. This purely visual hunter can travel up to 80 kilometers a day in the blistering heat. In summer, temperatures here can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. Circling vultures point to the possibility of carrion on the ground. A rocky outcrop is a good vantage point to survey the scene below. Death is never far away in this desolate land. But one animal's loss is a scavenger's gain. More than 700 species of bird are found on the Arabian Peninsula. The region is a transit hub for thousands of birds moving between feeding and breeding grounds in Europe, Africa, and Asia. It's estimated that 3 billion migrating birds cross Arabia every year. Many birds of prey leave for cooler areas before the scorching summer heat takes hold. But a resident population of Egyptian vultures remains year-round. This mix of adults and darker juveniles are in for the long haul. An unlucky goat provides a welcome feast. Although it will take some live prey, carrion makes up most of the vulture's diet. The newcomer surveys the scene from above. Vulture etiquette requires that new arrivals and dark-feathered juveniles wait their turn. Up close, the fully grown Egyptian vulture is a curious-looking bird. Its mostly white feathers and distinctive featherless yellow face mark it apart from other vultures. The white helps to reflect the sun, enabling the bird to stay cool in the Arabian heat. The bare skin on its face may also help control its body temperature. Unlike other vultures who have bare necks, the Egyptian has a shaggy ruff of feathers that stays largely clean as it feeds. Vultures are nature's master recyclers,
They provide a vital service in removing organic waste, clearing up potentially disease-causing carcasses. Above the feast, more hungry vultures arrive. Wing flapping is hard work for a bird weighing more than 2 kilos. So like other birds of prey, the vulture uses rising columns of warm air, called thermals, to stay airborne for longer. It uses its wedge-shaped tail to steer in circles, to stay within the rising warm air columns and maximize uplift, enabling it to soar. This increases its chances to pinpoint prey, or other vultures who already have. For birds associated with fresh water, the desert may seem an unlikely place to take up residence. But one of Arabia's most flamboyant aerial masters has done just that. More than 2,000 flamingos have made their home at a flooded salt flat on the industrial outskirts of Abu Dhabi city in the United Arab Emirates. Flamingos are strong flyers once in the air, but takeoff requires more effort. These 3-kilo birds must run as they beat their wings for liftoff. Once up, they are graceful, stretching their long necks and long legs into a straight line measuring up to 1.5 meters. Wingtip to wingtip, they're almost as wide as they are long. Their wing beats, interspersed with short glides, keep them airborne over long distances. Flamingos have been recorded flying up to 600 kilometers a night. And like other group travelers, conserve their energy by flying in formation, maximizing use of a slipstream. As they come into land, these graceful birds glide, then run a few paces as they touch down. In 1998, this remarkable population was the first to breed on the Arabian Peninsula, after an absence of more than 70 years. Each year, parents build their sandy mud nests on remote islands in the middle of the lake, far away from egg predators like foxes or monitor lizards. The flamingos share this vital inland wetland with a number of other waders, including winner of the title World's Longest Leg Bird relative to body size, the black-winged stilt. Its distinctive red legs make up 60% of its height and enable it to wade out to feeding areas where shorter waders cannot go. Stilts also breed around the lake in summer. Light grey juveniles and adults stride out in search of aquatic insects or tiny crustaceans that they mostly peck on or near the surface. This rare wetland is vital to Arabia's birds. 460 species are found in the United Arab Emirates. More than half of them recorded here at Al-Watan. Which is how it gets its name. Tiny